from the 200 comments of that video, a lot of the comments consisted of, hey, where's this game? Where's Sonic and the Black Knight? Where's Sonic Rush? Where's Sonic Lost? So here I am today to talk about spin-offs. We're doing a spin-off video. So same rules as last time. We're gonna cover most, if not all, of the spin-off games. Before we begin, make sure to like, subscribe, turn on the notifications, comment. You know the drill. Usually I would do a cutaway here to the, not cutaway, fade away to the next game or the first game. But no, we have some fucking games we need to discuss here. Sonic Chronicles! Now, I didn't play this game, and thank God I didn't. But what happened? This shit ain't 16-bit. This shit ain't 8-bit. Hell, this shit ain't even 4-bit. This is 2-bit! Listen to this shit. You hear the song that's playing in the background right now? The Death Egg theme? Listen to this. Alright, so this song is called Nocturne, right? This is a remix of the Big Arms theme! What in the world happened? And this makes me think, how did we get music like from Sonic Rush? How did we have this? Oh, but I'm not done. I'm not done, because now we got Sonic Boom! If we're talking about the worst game of all time in the series, this might take the cake. Yeah, Sonic 06 knocked down Sonic, but Boom nearly killed it, okay? Sega fired 300 people in an attempt to try to save their asses after this disaster of what was Sonic Boom. And the music is just as bad. It is like the antithesis of what a Sonic soundtrack should be. Gone are the unique and iconic songs we grew up with. Gone is the style that each game has. Now we have some generic action game soundtrack. Ugh, it's fucking disgraceful. These songs don't deserve a chance to be heard. I wouldn't even think of torturing you guys like that. Alright, let's actually start the video now. Alright, so the first game I want to look at is Sonic Spinball, released on the Sega Genesis and on the Sega Game Gear, Sega's handheld console. The game's lead composer was Howard Drawson. With this game, he tried to make a more grungy and industrial vibe to the soundtrack. And can you hear it right off the bat with the first level, Toxic Cave? It hits you with these hard drums and this weird synth sound that kind of sounds like it's hitting metal. The rest of the game has the same vibe, and it's really unsettling. The whole game is just unsettling for me in general. The game is really short too. It's only a handful of stages, so the soundtrack's quite short, but still, it has some bangers. And my personal favorite. Alright, up next, I want to talk about Sonic 1 8-bit. Now, I'm not going to cover all of them, because there's a fuck ton of them. But to make a long story short, Triple Trouble is the best one. Sonic 2 was pretty good. Chaos was alright. Now, why I'm covering this game and not something like Triple Trouble is because of two things. One, and I'm not really sure who commented this, but you're on the screen right now after I found this. But what I remember from the comment, and I don't know if this is right or wrong, but apparently Bridge Zone was inspired by Full House. After the composer of the game, Yuzo Koshiro, heard the Full House intro, and he was inspired by it, and he made Bridge Zone. And number two, there's actually an unused track, Marble Zone. There's some reusing of stages, but the only one that's remixed is Green Hill. Unless you count Marble Zone, which is an unused track in the game. It actually is my favorite one. I actually like it more than the 16-bit one. Next up, I want to look at Sonic 3D Blast. Now, despite the game having a little feature being called not being fun to play, the soundtrack actually goes surprisingly hard. Now, this is my first time listening to it in full, so I have to say I'm pretty surprised. And guess who composed it? My favorite boy, Jun Snoue. Yay! This is actually the first game he fully composed, and you can hear him in this soundtrack. It's always so interesting to hear his music through the Genesis era compared to the modern era. And fun fact, some tracks from this game, like Green Grove, were even repurposed in Sonic Adventure for Windy Valley Act 2, and Panic Puppet for Twinkle Park. And Panic Puppet is my favorite track. Knuckles Chaotix. This is a personal favorite of mine. Released on the Sega 32X, an add-on to the Sega Genesis. This is probably some of the best music on the Sega Genesis lineup in general. Since the game was released on the 32X, it was able to produce more sounds that were much clearer. The game's composer was Mariko Nanba, and the track takes on a more atmospheric and more upbeat feeling to it, until it's not. Each track kind of fits its own level. For example, we have Seascape, who has a more, tropical vibe to it, and the song that everyone knows, Door into Summer. And I was actually surprised, like when I was done listening to it, I was genuinely surprised when having a hard time to pick a favorite. And that's how you know you have a good soundtrack, when you're having a hard time picking. But I think I have to go with this one. Next up, we have Sonic Fighters, originally released as an arcade game, but later released in the Sonic Gems collection. Now, this soundtrack is interesting, to say the least. The composer for this game, Takenobu Mitsuyoshi, created one of the most goofiest soundtracks I've ever heard in any Sonic game. It's not bad, it's not mid, it's goofy. Some tracks sound like they were trying to imitate Street Fighter or Tekken, and some sound like they were ripped from a cheesy action movie. It is so goofy, but that's why I love it. That's why I love it. And it was tough for me to choose again, surprisingly. I think the one I liked the most was the Death Egg. Next up, I want to talk about the Sonic Advance trilogy games. The composers of this game seem to get shrouded in mystery for some reason, but the two who came up the most were Yutaka Minobe and Tatsuki Maeda. The games on the Game Boy brought back to its bit days, like the 32-bit era, but that didn't stop them from some fire tracks. The soundtracks in this game, the songs fit the theme of the level. For example, Neo Green Hill, it's Green Hill but on a beach, so it has a more tropical vibe to it. We have Secret Base that has a more industrial and more robust vibe to it. And then we have Casino Paradise, obviously sounding like a casino. But my favorite track is this one. We're going back to back with this one. Next up is Sonic Advance 2. The two composers mentioned before are still here, but there's a new one in the ring. And his name is Teruhiko Nakagawa. This game holds a very special place in my heart because one, it's my favorite in the series, and two, if you are a person of culture or if you just had a normal childhood, you know that two stages were used in Sonic Flash Advance. Back when I couldn't have every Sonic game, I had maybe 2 or 3, and I would just watch them all on YouTube, I would play this nonstop. And the only 2 stages, Leaf Forest, which for some reason used Angel Island Act 2, and Ice Paradise Act 1 were used. And because of that, Ice Paradise was basically engraved into my memory and is one of my favorite tracks of the game. It sounds like the perfect snow level. It sounds like the glaciers are engraved, very high-pitched jingles to it that sound like the glaciers of the level are engraved into the soundtrack. And it sounds very merry and like it's Christmas time, and I love it. To end the series off, we're at Sonic Advance 3. For this game, Yutaka and Teriko left, but Tatsuki Maeda remained. But not to worry, because 3 legends were added to this roster. Kenichi Tokoi and Fumi Kumatani, who worked on Sonic Adventure, and Hideki Kobayashi, who worked on Sonic 06, Colors, and Unleashed. And you can tell this one has a more different style to it. It felt more high action and fast paced. For example with Sunset Hill Zone, it's very fast paced, and compared to the OG, first of all, the OG Green Hill Zone and other tracks from Advanced 1 or 2. And we have Route 99, which felt very fast as well. Listen, bops are bops, and my favorite bop of them all Now, up next is Shadow the Hedgehog. This one's gonna be fun. Now, this one has a lot of debate surrounding it. If it's a spin-off or mainline, or if it's a good or bad game. But regardless, what do I think of the soundtrack? First of all, the big 3 are back. Tomoyo Otani, Jun Sonoe, and Crush 40, along with Mariko Nanba. The main theme is fire, first of all. Of course, you have Crush 40 returning to do the main theme, so it's a guaranteed bop. There is a mix of some heavy metal, like Almost Dead, and some more low-key songs, like The Chosen One, that takes a more like slow pace to it and has a bit more calmer and quieter feeling to it. It's more like a power ballad, if anything. And the stage themes are a mix of rock and electronic music, like Black Bull, Westopolis, and my personal favorite, The Ark. Because this is a little fun fact about The Ark. If you listen closely, you can hear Final Rush from Sonic Adventure 2 being played, and I just love that shit, man. Despite what I think about the game, this soundtrack is goated. Now let's talk about the Rush games, one of the more unique soundtracks. Composed by Hideki Naganuma, who made the music for Jet Set Radio. When he came along to do this game, he brought his style from Jet Set Radio into Sonic, and it fits perfectly with Sonic. It mixes perfectly with his carefree attitude, with him doing like tricks in the air and shit like that. I just feel like the hip hop and like type of music fits perfectly with Sonic. That's just the stuff he would vibe to. I don't know why. This track is very unique because it uses a lot of vocal samples, like with Back to Back, Villanova, and most notably Wrapped in Black, which includes a voice clip from Malcolm X, where he says,
"Blame, too strong. Blame, too strong." It's just like when you got some coffee that's too black, which means it's too strong.
But my personal favorite has to be
Have a nice ball, you stupid bitch.
Sonic Rush Adventure comes up next, and sadly, Hideki is no longer part of the production team. But they did bring on Tomoyo Otani, Nanba, and Suryo Okamoto. The game tries to keep the essence of the original Rush with the vocal samples, but overall, it feels a bit more Otani than anything. Regardless, the soundtrack still goes BOOMY, right? My personal favorite being Sky Babylon. Next up, we got the Riders series of games, starting with OG Sonic Riders, composed by Kenichi Tokoi, Fumi Kumatani, and Tomonori Sawada. This track goes heavy with electronic music, being set in a futuristic city, I would assume so, and my personal favorite track in the game is Next, we got Sonic Riders Zero Gravity, composed by the previous composers of the last game and adding on Hideki Kobayashi. Though this game still has a very heavy emphasis on tech music, it starts to incorporate some aspects of rock and some orchestra as well. This game is basically more of the last, and that's not a bad thing at all, because it has one of my favorite tracks in the entire Riders series. Finally we got fucking Free Riders, man. What the fuck? We had two good racing games, and then we have a shitty fucking Xbox Kinect game that barely works half the time. Still, the soundtrack does go hard, no matter what happens in the fucking production, unless your name is Sonic Chronicles or Sonic Boom. The soundtrack still goes hard no matter what. It starts to lean more back into the tech side, but it kind of works in its favor. My favorite track from this game is okay, this is my favorite one. I'm going to do this video. I'm kind of upset I didn't do it last time, and a lot of people were upset at me for not covering it. I'm upset with myself as well. Sonic and the Black Knight has one of the greatest soundtracks, not just in the spin-offs, but in Sonic history. It's definitely my top 10, even my top 5, possibly. composed by Jun Sonoe, and the main theme being performed by Crush 40. But they bring back Howard Drawson from Sonic Spinball and Richard Jacquees from Sonic R. This soundtrack is basically equivalent to the Chicago 1966 Bulls. This roster goes fucking crazy. The soundtrack in this game is extremely varied. We got rock coming back, but we also have the orchestra to make a mix of like this medieval and rock, and it's amazing. We have the themes of the Knights of the Round Table. We have Blaze, who is already a princess, so she already has that royal vibe with her. The two funny ones are Shadow and Knuckles, where they literally, it's just Shadow's music that we would hear in like something like Shadow the Hedgehog, and Knuckles' theme is literally just his rap from Sonic Adventure 1. And then we have, there's this song called Deep Forest or Deep Woods, and I was listening to the car today, it was like this mythical theme. I levitated into another plane, bro. And then we have the theme song basically of Merlene, which is With Me, which is basically going through her thoughts, like if I'm gonna die, then everyone's gonna die with me, hence With Me. And because basically her whole character is like, she can't accept that everything's gonna end one day, and you cannot skip out on the GOAT, one of the best themes of all time, Night of the Wind. Alright, now real quick, I want to mention Sonic All-Stars Racing Transform specifically. I remember playing this game all the time as a kid. I don't remember the soundtrack having a fucking god on that fucking helm, okay? The man, the myth, the legend, Richard Jacquees returns once again. It's like he's a gift from God himself. He makes some of the catchiest fucking soundtracks. I don't know where they got this guy, but he's fucking crazy, man. There are some remixes and some original tracks in this game, but I find more enjoyment in the remixes, specifically the remake of Toot Toot Sonic Warriors. Alright, next up is Team Sonic Racing. This soundtrack goes hard for no reason. They got Jun Sonoe back on the track, and they got Crush 40 back, creating the main theme, Green Light Ride, after taking a break from the series for a little bit. And the thing that I just love about this game is that the team's ultimate themes fucking go crazy. They each represent their team and the characters. Like Tails having a remix of his theme from SA2. Blaze, which calls back to Sonic Rush. Shadows is a remix of his theme from 06. And Eggman's is a remix of his theme from SA2. Oh, fuck, okay. So, I got a lot of shit for leaving out this game in the last video. And, truth be told, I did it on purpose. I do not like bro, at all. Y'all complain about Frontiers not having momentum? May I introduce you to Sonic Lost? By far, the slowest he's been in a mainline Sonic game. Even his running speed is slow. He has a spin dash, but it carries no momentum at all. Otani composed it, and Takahito Iguchi, who also worked on it. He worked on Final Fantasy X too? What? How are you gonna make Final Fantasy X 2 and make a soundtrack like this? Okay. The problem that I have with it is this soundtrack tries to appeal to like the Nintendo and like Mario crowd, and it sounds more like a like any generic gaming soundtrack rather than a Sonic game, right? And you can agree or disagree with me, but I fucking despise this game. I have some fucking fucked up trauma with this game. I hate it so much. I can't. One day I'll do a video on why I do not like this game. But for some reason, the final boss theme goes hard. Out of all the songs that are stock as fuck in this game, they decided to go hard with it. I guess plus points for them, I guess. And with that, I think I covered most of the spin-offs. I'm sorry if I didn't, get to like fucking Sonic Schoolhouse or if Sonic sells chocolate in Memphis. I'm sorry if I didn't cover any of those games, but I think I got the important ones. So, before we leave, I just want to have a heart-to-heart with you guys. Thank you guys so much. I want to wait to the end of the video to say this, but thank you guys so much for the support on the last video. As of the time of me recording this audio, we are currently at 13,000 views, 1,200 watch hours. We are now at 225 subs. When I uploaded this video, I was only at 46. So I just want to say thank you all who's liked, who subscribed, who commented. Nearly almost 250 people commented on this video. So I just want to say thank you guys so much. You guys truly don't understand how much this means to me. I have no words. I'm still kind of processing that this many people watch my video. This is like a decent amount. Yo, I can't even process it. But once again, thank you guys so much for watching. If you did enjoy, please make sure to like, subscribe, turn on notifications, and comment. Let me know what you think about my picks. Also, fuck Sonic 4.